Welcome back to another simple and easy mob farm. I will be focusing on the elusive Ghast. That's right, you no longer have to worry about getting those annoying little rare tiers anymore. In this video, I will start off with showing you it working. Then I will lead to how it works, how to build it, where to place it, how to survive a fall, and how to get above the nether roof, as we are, if you look at my Y coordinate, way above the ceiling. And finally, how to use this farm to farm gold from these little pigs and the slimes, the magma cubes that occasionally spawned around here. So let's get to this. First part is showing you it working. So I'm going to start a time lapse starting now. Okay, and that concludes the time lapse. As you can see, I have 6 here. They haven't despawned. The only mobs that have despawned are the Pigman. The second way to get these guys, and you may or may not like this, as you see, I have creative mode off. I have regular inventory, although I do have too many items. If you do go to your options, turn it to peaceful, and continue to do this back and forth between any difficulty. It doesn't have to be hard. This is the second way to use this trap. When you turn it to peaceful, as you see, all the mobs have disappeared, and once you turn it back to difficulty, they start spawning again. Just wait a few moments and you will have your Ghast. Alright, this leads me to the third way of spawning these guys. Now I'm going to turn it back to peaceful again. I'm going to head back down there. Alright, so I just got down from the ladder. I'm going to switch my difficulty to anything so that the mobs start spawning. And as you see, although I am close to the bottom level here, there will be mobs that are spawning on the other side, and that's because they are further from me by 24 blocks, and that is the required distance for mobs to spawn from your XYZ coordinate. Now, as you see, there are only Pigmen spawning and a Ghast. There we go. So that's perfect. I'll show you how to get rid of this Ghast on the ground level by pressing this button. There's a button on the top there. I'll show you that later. Okay, now that they are on that side, they're making me run all the way over here. How annoying is that? Come on, guys. Come on. There we go. Okay. So, I'm on ground level. And there are a bunch of pigmen. There are no more ghast. That is a problem. How we deal with that is we annoy some pigmen. You shoot one of them, and they will all start following you, of course. Your objective is to clear all of the ones off the top platform. The reason why you want to do this is because you don't want to be up there while these guys are mad at you. That's not how it works. So I do have these two guys following me here. There we go. So I got them down. If you didn't notice this hole before, the majority of them just fell right into this hole. That is the point. I'm clearing these pigmen out of this area. They will die once they hit the bottom, and I will have more ghast that spawn, and that is the entire point of me doing this part. I don't know if it's faster. Honestly, I haven't tried to do these enough times. I guess you can get a hang of doing this to the point where it becomes efficient. However, as you see, more spawn, and you can just do this back and forth, however many times you want. And ghast will spawn, as you see. Alright, so I've shown you the 3 different ways to spawn these guys. You can either wait for the pigmen to despawn and for these guys to spawn. You can either switch off, you can toggle the peaceful mode, or you can actively go down there and kill off the pigmen by luring them into the pitfall. Now that you have all these ghast, how do you kill them? If you are waiting up here, toggling or literally waiting, you have these two buttons. One controls the arrow pistons on that side, the other one controls the arrow pistons on the other side. Both of these arrow pistons shoot at a length of 20 blocks due to their height and position, and this entire area is 40 blocks. Therefore, the arrows should dispense and cover the entire area if need be. So let's go ahead and get rid of these guys. Okay, one more. Haha. Okay. So instead of and I'm not in creative mode right now, if you didn't notice. Instead of actually taking the ladder, I decided to go this way. It seems a bit faster. So, there are 2 tiers over here. They seem to have all died on this side, so I'm just going to look over. There's another tier down there, and I don't see a third. Oh, no, there's a 3rd tier over there. So 6 ghast, 50% drop rate. We have four tiers, so let's go down and get those. Okay, so this brings us to our safely gathering these items. Obviously, if you are luring the pigmen into the hole, you want them to not be after you up here. It doesn't matter down there as much, unless, of course, you do have tiers that are down there, like this one here. Then you will need to actually kill them off from that area. But I think there was one more tier over there, and you saw me use those side ladders. So that is the extent of why they exist. There's the other one. I'm gonna drop down here, take some damage, jump down here, take more damage, and oh god, I have to work my way all the way to the ladder. Okay, just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so, not creative mode sucks. But anyway, that's what you're gonna have to do. If you were on this level, however, and you were actively getting the pigmen to despawn by throwing them off through that hole, all you have to do is press this button and that would dispense the arrows, or likewise on the other side. Escaping the chamber you have already seen. All you have to do is locate one of the ladders placed strategically surrounding this area, jump to them, and go upward. Pigmen will not be able to climb these. Okay, welcome to my Ghast torture chamber. No, this is actually my first attempt at making a Ghast spawner, and it failed miserably, and I'll explain why in shortly. So a Ghast requires a 5x5x5 area to spawn, which is why the glass ceiling over here is 5 high over the spawning platform. If I were to spawn a Ghast like so over here, he will be trapped, and I've shown how they spawn in my trap. I have not shown how they spawn over here, but I'll tell you, it takes a while. There are only 16 blocks for them to spawn on over here, and right now I have them all blocked off just because I don't want any mobs spawning over here. It is highly unlikely, however, that a Ghast would spawn in 16, even just one of these 16. It takes a while. So that is one of the bad parts about having this type of trap. The second part is you need a lot of pistons. You need 3 to put him into position. He can't move right now, but that is taking up a lot of resources and a lot of redstone if I were to have had to set this up automatically. Obviously, I'm in creative mode, so if this was not creative mode, he would be shooting fireballs all over the place. This is a suffocation trap. It was one of the only ways I found to kill them. I have arrow dispensers here, so of course I was experimenting with that, which is what I'm using for my design. However, I just wanted to show you guys some information that I found about these guys. Strangely enough, this does not hurt him. Sending these blocks through him is just like having one gravel block being placed above your head. It lands near your torso, so it actually doesn't go through your head, it doesn't suffocate you, and that's what this situation is. However, this block right here that my crosshair is on, and the one over here of the Ghast where my crosshair is on, do not suffocate the Ghast. You need it on the corners, like so, or this one over here. And that holds true on all 4 corners, and that is where their head is. That is where their line of sight starts from. And you might need to remember that, because if you see a corner of a Ghast, they will attack you. It is just one corner that is required for them to attack you. I'm gonna get rid of this guy, reset these real fast, and I'm going to actually half slab this up so that nothing spawns over here while I'm going back. So that said, the roof over here, the glass roof that is required, needs to extend all the way over every single side, so not even one corner of the Ghast is left to be exposed, because if just one corner is exposed to your sight, that is a direct line of sight, and they will start firing at you, and that is very bad. If you did notice, the only way I was able to shoot at the Pigman was either going down the ladders or hanging off the side here, and I left this open, but I didn't do it indiscriminately. I placed these blocks here so that Ghast cannot press up against this wall. If they were to press against this wall and have one of their corners stick out, it would be able to see me while I was standing up here or if I was running around on top of here. In that instance, they would start shooting fireballs, and that would ruin my entire day. So keep that in mind. The ladder is the first thing I would build. Moving on to how this is built. The ladder extends all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top. So you will need a lot of ladders. You will need a lot of cobble or stone or whatever you're using. You will need a lot of glass and quite a bit of half slabs as well. This half slab top portion here, and you can check out my other video that goes over this in greater detail, allows the mobs at this great height to spawn here. If I were not to have anything above this platform, they would not spawn. So you don't have to have it necessarily as high as I do, and as I have it, you don't need to cover everything. And I put two designs here to show you that you don't need it to be in a certain pattern. You don't need anything specific. All it needs to be is covering it in a general area, just a broad sweep. Doesn't have to be fully covered like in my previous video. But you can check that other video out to learn more about how that works. So, mobs can't spawn on top of glass and half slabs, and that's why I have a glass roof here. You can replace it with half slabs, however you just won't be able to see the gas that are underneath it. I like glass, so it isn't too much glass. It would take a while to get it, but I think it would be worth it being able to get an endless supply of gas tiers without having to do that much effort at all. These ladders placed around allow you to access them without the mobs jumping up onto them. Also, they leave holes for the gas to have lines of sight from. That's just why I have this cover here, from this hole right there. I do not have them, however, on these holes just because even if a gas was pressing up against here, you would need to be almost directly above it for them to see you, in which case would happen for this ladder, but on these side ladders it would not happen, so you don't have to worry about that. Maybe this one, I would suggest just putting something easy over it, like so. You don't need anything fancy. All you need to do is just block off the area so that the gas doesn't have a line of sight to you. That's the most important thing. Speaking of which, what happens if a gas spawns while you are still in the cage? If this does happen, and I'll demonstrate it right here, I'm going to turn off my creative mode, and I might as well actually keep it on until I actually get the gas down here. So I'll better demonstrate this rather than explain it. So if I were to let this guy shoot at me, he's shooting directly at me. It is so easy to be able to hit those back at him. Maybe not that one. It is very easy. So if you were to be in here collecting items, or for whatever reason, and something spawns behind you, all you need to do is turn around, look at him, and swing your hand, and it is almost impossible for you not to hit him. A word of warning, however, if you do bounce a gas fireball back at him and you hit a pigman instead, he will aggro you. He will pretend that you just shot him with an arrow, even though you just like deflected a fireball. So don't let that happen. On the other hand, they will attack a ghast if they are hit by the same fireball without it being deflected from you. So if you use one as like a shield, a human pigman shield, that strategy works as well. As far as the redstone goes, this redstone staircase is a bit elaborate. You don't necessarily need all of that there. However, it is nice to be able to just stand in one spot and kill them all without having to run back and forth between the bottom. I have it all half slabbed off because mobs do and will spawn on redstone, that is on cobble or stone or whatever, and mobs will spawn on these arrow dispensers, so you need glass or half slabs on those as well. And you can see that I've done a pretty good job of covering everything up with half slabs, everything up with glass, all this side here. Not sure why this one isn't covered, but that needs to be covered as well. The only exception are repeaters. Repeaters do not need to be covered, and I can just go ahead and leave that off. Repeaters are used in this system just to extend the range of the current through the redstone. That is all. There are no timers with this. There's nothing complicated. Like I said, it is very simple, very easy design. It is large, and there's a lot of glass. Those are the only two exceptions. This does use arrows. You will need to build a mob spawner in the overworld to get arrows from skeletons, or you'll need to find a skeleton spawner and build a similar trap to get arrows from skeletons that way. Either way, it doesn't require a whole lot of arrows, and you get the majority of them back when you are salvaging your rewards. You can refill the arrow dispensers from this position. The other side, however, you will need to break glass blocks to get at them. This is unfortunate. However, I did not want to drop down while running back and forth. For instance, this one, you need to break one of these, and I didn't want to risk that. You will see some redstone down here. I'll go over that last, as that pertains to the gold farm. Alright, so this leads me to the placement of this guy. Now, if I were to, like the majority of traps, be waiting on the bottom, as you can see on my map, there are mobs that are spawning elsewhere, below the ceiling of the Nether, and this is not something that you want. You want all the mobs. As you can see, as I gain distance, they start despawning from their locations within the Nether, the normal area of the Nether, and they start respawning back into the trap where you want them to be. So it's ideal to be as far away, as I said in my previous video, from the very bottom of the Nether, where the normal area is, as far up as possible away from the roof, so that they don't spawn anywhere except for your trap, and that's where you want it. So I am, if you look at my Y coordinate, right on the very tip top of the map, and that's where you want to place this spawner. You have to be very sensitive of the area, however. So for instance, if I were waiting here, and let me just go straight down so you get an idea of where the block is underneath me. Right here you see it's 141 as X coordinate, 230 for Y coordinate, and 268 for my Z coordinate. Now if I am to take a glass block and replace this here, you'll see that I am at Y coordinate 255 from that position. That is greater, of course, greater than 24 blocks. So the mobs are able to spawn underneath there and everywhere else. After 30, I think it's 32 blocks, they will not be able to move. They will then start to despawn within a minute, and that will give available spaces for these Ghast to spawn. And that is the entire idea, as I've said, of this spawner, this farm. So, I am in this top position, far enough so that they can spawn, not far enough so that they wait there. You don't want this to be too far away from the spawn area. You want the pigmen to be able to move around. You want them to fall into those side pockets there. It is very important to open up space on the upper platforms that these Ghast can spawn. And that is the cycle. You want this not to be so close so that they aren't despawning on the sides. You want them to despawn on the sides, but you want them to spawn on the pad on the top. That is why this works so well. They are despawning, they are also spawning, so it's a cycle. Okay, so obviously I built this in creative mode. I didn't really have to worry about falling. However, when you do this in the real game, and when I will be building this in my actual game, I won't be doing this in creative mode. So how do you avoid falling? That seems to be like one of the major problems with building it so high up, and especially in the Nether where you can't use water. How I avoid this is by building little tiny gadgets, little tiny placements of ladders on the bottom. What that does for me is it gives me the ability to place myself in between the ladders, thus saving breaking my fall before I actually hit anything. Now let's say I was building here and I fell. The first thing that you want to do is look straight down. Your crosshair indicates where you will be landing, and as you can move throughout the air while you are falling, you can change the position of where you fall. Therefore, if I fell over here, I'll look straight down, and bam, I land directly in between the ladders, saving my fall, breaking my fall, and saving me from death. Now, this isn't something that you can do all the time. You can't practice it. You just have to try your best. Most of the time, hopefully you won't die, but every now and then I'm sure that you'll make a mistake, not pay attention, or get unlucky and hit the tops here. You can extend these up, make them higher, which will give you more time to come in from the side. However, no matter what you do, you can't always avoid death, especially at these heights, and especially when you can't use water. Very unfortunate, but that is the only thing that I know of that can save you from possibly falling to your death. The next part I will be going over is how to actually get up here. So this is obviously the roof of the Nether, and you can't break these blocks. So how the heck are you going to be able to get up there when you're in a situation like this, and there is no way up? You're not in creative mode, you can't break these blocks. It's not going to work that way. So let me go ahead and turn off creative mode. Let me give myself the required item, Ender Pearl, and as soon as I stop this guy from attacking me, yeah, you will notice that I need to be over here. Bam! So I did this legitimately. I didn't do this in creative mode. I searched around for a while, and eventually I found an area where you can stand and be in the Y coordinate 126. You can see that in the upper left hand corner of the screen. Y coordinate 126. this gives you the ability to use an ender pearl and get above this block right here. This is the final block. Above this block is freedom, is the above the roof of the nether. And how you do that is you just throw the ender pearl up and then jump immediately after. So it's toss, toss, and then jump, toss, and jump. The reason why you have to jump after is because when you toss it, you're not only taking the damage from throwing the ender pearl, you'll also have your head stuck inside this block and you'll begin to take suffocation damage. And that's bad. So throw and then jump. So here I am. I took 3.5 hearts of damage, or possibly 4. Nope, it's 3.5. My hunger bar is below 9. So 3.5. I took 3 from the ender pearl, and 1 damage from the, or half a damage from the suffocation. Now looking at my character, I am above the roof with my head, so I'm no longer taking suffocation damage, but my lower half is below. How I resolve this is by jumping a second time, and I'm up. So that's how you get above the nether ceiling, legitimately. And then, I don't expect you to get it on the first ender pearl. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 to get up. I don't know if there's a better place to throw it, if it's on the side or direct center. Who knows? I just know that where you're coming up, you have to make sure that there's nothing around it. So if I were to try to come up underneath this block, it wouldn't work. I would just die because I would get stuck in between there. So keep that in mind. You might want to locate exactly where you're coming up and mark that area so that you can put surrounding blocks around it and make sure no one builds there, or you don't build there yourself. Going back into creative mode and scrolling, flying up here, I will go over the final and last portion of this video, which is how to use this to farm gold and or magma cubes. Now magma cubes will spawn here. As you see, there's one right there, and since there is a 5x5 area such as the ghast can spawn, you also sometimes get the larger magma cubes there. Now there isn't too much that really goes into killing the magma cubes. You pretty much just run down there and attack them. Okay, so I have too many ghast in here. I don't really like that noise they're making. Back attack! Back attack! Yes, okay. Whoops. Me trying not to hit these pigmen. To farm these cubes, these guys, they can't get out of here. However, the smaller ones can jump out. So keep that in mind. If you have a bigger one up here, you can break it down to smaller ones, but the very smallest ones can escape. The medium and big ones cannot escape. They're stuck here. So that goes over the magma cube farming. It's not really a magma cube farm. I'm sure there's better ways than making one. However, the main point is for these zombie men. Okay, so you saw the redstone before, and you may have been wondering what this is down here. Now, initially, this is just that hole that I was talking about before, where you just lure them into this hole. Now, if you wanted to turn this into a gold farm, all you needed to do is put blocks here. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so I have blocks here now. And now zombie men will start dropping down here. It's a 3-block drop. They don't have any problem walking off by themselves into that. However, it's a bit too slow for my taste. I like things to go a bit faster than that. So how you do that is you go up the ladder once you place those blocks. You go up to this top area and you either go down one of these ladders or you actually go over to the side here like I did initially. You attack one of them, get their attention, make sure you don't run off the side, have them all follow you all the way over to that opening. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them, and they will all just fall right into that. They're taking a bit of damage, not too much. Looks like there's a magma cream over there that I got, and these guys don't seem to be really making too much of a fuss. Let me change that. There we go. Alright. So I have quite a lot of pigmen. Does take a bit more work than my previous trap. So this isn't so much of a waiting trap for pigmen as my previous one, but you do get them a lot faster. If you didn't notice, it only took about 1 minute to reach my monster cap, whereas my other one takes about 6 minutes or something like that on average. So once you have it filled up, you want to head down to this area, and this is a simple mob crusher, nothing complicated. They're all down here. I'm probably going to make this less loud for you guys, but here we go. Oh, wrong one. Alright, so there was quite a lot of those guys in there. You see my inventory, I don't have anything. I press this one, pushes the items forward. It's pretty much the same design as my last mob trap for zombie pigmen. So it's nothing complicated. Yeah, 44. Since there's about 80, that's pretty much about 50%. And that's how it works. So I'm going to go back into creative mode, fly back up here, show you the red wiring. Very simple design, nothing complicated once again. This is the mob crusher, it suffocates the mobs. This time I got rid of one of the repeaters since you don't need it. I saw this from a different video. Sorry, I don't remember which one. But it's a basic concept. Just goes around. This one lights this block. It activates this block, which lights the redstone underneath it. So that's how this one works. I couldn't put this one up above it because it would start messing around with the other redstone, start activating those, and it messed it all up. So I have it one layer below, and that goes up here, and of course it's all covered by glass because you don't want monsters spawning on the redstone, which they can. They don't, however, spawn on these pistons here, and they don't spawn on the repeaters. So that is that. Once you are satisfied with your gold, you can come back up here, get more, or just go ahead and break those blocks again so you don't have to worry about these guys becoming a problem for you. And looks like I still have this one on. Nope. There we go. So he says goodbye, and I hope you check out my other videos. Hopefully you liked this. It is very practical, very easy and simple gas spawner. Thank you for watching, and enjoy Minecraft.